Hello, welcome back to the BCS podcast, episode 2. We're recording this off the tail end of the first episode you just listened to. Obviously, that's a little bit time consuming, time sensitive. And along with this one, I'm not positive when this is going to go up. Probably maybe Friday. Having one go Thursday, one go Friday. A little double special for you guys waiting for the whole year. So we appreciate the support as always. And we're just going to go down the conference. We'll be talking about certain things and if anybody's got any picks or anything they want to add in, little sprinkles, and we'll go. But we'll start off with the very fun, go happy, a lot of points American Athletic Conference. Obviously, this conference used to be a lot more fun a few years ago. When you think back of the old, 120-point game like Memphis SMU when they had College Game Day there that one time. But we're now down to a conference that has Army Navy being a conference game in the American Conference.
Yeah.
Kind of checks out.
It's not a conference game.
No, it's weird.
They're in the same conference. It's not a conference game, though.
Okay,
it's still.
there you go.
But they can play in the conference championship if they both made it, correct?
So that is what I was just going to say. If they were both to have a great season and be the 1 and the 2 in the conference, they would play on conference championship weekend and then again the next weekend.
That's nuts. That would be crazy. And the second game would mean basically like bragging rights type thing. The first weekend will mean something.
That game will mean something every time, obviously.
I mean, it's just weird.
That game will mean something every single time in Go Army.
Okay. So I mean, if we're looking at I don't know. Let's just all go through a pick.
I look. This is going to be a crazy conference. I got UTSA actually winning this conference over Memphis in an upset. That's going to be my pick. I think that's going to probably be the championship game. I actually think that first-year member Army is going to do pretty well, and I think it's going to come down to, at the end of the season, UTSA at Army to decide the second team, and then UTSA upsets undefeated Memphis and knocks Memphis actually out of the 12th playoff spot.
So yeah, I'm thinking the same type of thing. I'm going to pick an underdog too. I'm thinking Tulane upsets Memphis in the game, and seeing. I mean, it's basically. I think it's going to come between a couple of teams. I think Liberty's one of them just because of their schedule. But I think that this is a potential to where you have to look at it how it is also. Because there's a group of 5 spot in the playoff, but there's also the 5th highest conference champion. So let's say that there's a group of 5 team that's 12-0, and there's a conference champion that's 12-0. There's a chance that Liberty gets in that 12-0, or something along those lines. If there's 2 12-0 teams, it'd be hard to take one of those teams away. So I think that there's a potential that there's a second group of 5 team that makes it in the playoff, but it's very unlikely. It's very, very unlikely unless somehow a bunch of teams are waiting for.
I don't see that happening.
But
I can tell you how it happens if you want. One of those teams would have to be a team like my South Florida Bulls. Now listen, I'm on this team for 2 years now. I've been talking about them for a while. They're a 6.5 to 1 when I gave them out. They have a very fun schedule. They have the conference schedule. They play Memphis at home it's already a 7:00 game. They do play in Raymond James Stadium with a little pirate ship. They have 2 sick games this year. They have Bethune-Cookman at home, then they play at Alabama. I don't know if you remember last year, they had Alabama on the ropes. This is the game that Milroe was allegedly suspended for, and they were playing in the middle of an absolute monsoon, and they had that weird camera angle from behind, and they I think they lost 14-3. They had Buckner was in there with Ty Simpson, and it was a total shit show, but. They now go at Tuscaloosa. I'm sure it'll be a bit different last time, but they have one of the best quarterbacks in the country, Bynum Brown. And additionally, after that, they have Miami at home. It's Miami, if they lose week 1, they could have all the wheels fall off and this team could get bad quick. And you don't want to be playing this Alex Golesh-led team where they run that Tennessee offense, the super wide spread, the whole UCF. They have 6 guys on the sideline with all the colors doing their thing, the old UCF Scott Frost offense. And Bynum Brown, this kid's incredible. They have another receiver, Sean Atkins, I believe. He's going to be just as good. Bynum Brown, freshman last year, dude put up crazy numbers. If you have any fantasy league, you should take him when you can. He's very good. And this team will be very fun to watch. And I love them against the spread and the over in Bama and Miami games as now. And Memphis, them hosting Memphis is going to be a hell of a game. That's the how deep does your college football knowledge go is one of those games. So that could get you back to that old feel of those SMU Memphis, 1,000-point games, even like Tulane back when everyone used to score. Every time you look at this conference, it's like, oh, it's 52-48. Got it. Every game was fun. This is one of these teams that kind of brings it back to that. So.
All right, next conference, we're going to jump right into the major conferences with the ACC conference. Cozzi, go ahead again.
You mean the nationwide conference?
Yeah.
They literally should be the American conference.
Yeah.
The nationwide spanning to Stanford and Cal.
Just change to American Coast Conference. It saves everything.
Yes. I am going to say, man, there was already a shocker in this one with Georgia Tech beating Florida State. That was a huge one. I've kind of kicked my options around because I wanted to go with my dark horse SMU in this conference. And then they just went out and they looked terrible against Nevada.
Yeah.
So now I'm undecided. Do I stick with them? Do I not? I'm going to go – this is going to be a crazy conference. I'm going to actually say your conference championship game. Okay, this is going to be wild. Get ready. NC State plays Duke. I think the ACC is just absolute garbage. No.
Rematch of the basketball championship game.
I'm sorry. Huh? I'm going to take this back. I don't want to put Duke there.
Duke's crazy.
Duke's wild.
NC State plays Georgia Tech.
Okay. I think that Georgia Tech showed that, as Michigan always says, run the damn ball, and they absolutely ran it down Florida State.
I have actually been on the Brent Key believers train.
He's very good against
all of last year, and everyone I bet on them of quite a few games. I hit on them of quite a few games. Everyone's doubted them. Vegas has counted them down and out multiple times. NC State will beat Georgia Tech for the ACC. I don't have faith in Miami. I think Miami is losing this weekend to Florida. Oh, I think they are going into the swamp and getting their ass kicked. I think Florida's going to come out pumped. And I think it's going to be one of those where the crowd changes that game. They get in their heads. Cam Ward looks terrible. And Miami just goes, where the hell did we screw up again? And that's where we're at. So that's my prediction for the ACC. There is some kind of outside movement that I don't want to happen, but I know it's going to bite me in the ass. There's a certain quarterback at a certain school that wears orange that has a very easy schedule, and I'm very nervous that they're going to go 10-2. And it's just going to be – I mean, I'm not going to lie. Man, would it be amazing if Syracuse was the 4 seed. And you are right, Blake. You brought it up. Do you sit your players to get the 5 seed just so you could play Syracuse?
Could you imagine if you guys played them in a bowl game?
Oh, my God.
That might be like JJ Redick levels of witness protection program.
Yeah, I mean, if we're just looking at overall what I'm thinking, I think Clemson's going to make it to the championship game. They're just too good. I think they just have such a good team. But I do think that they lose in the game, and I'm picking a very heavy underdog. But everybody talks about this crazy thing in college football, and it's called retaining players. And if you look at what Michigan could do last year, they retained a lot of players. They retained most of their team, and they won the national championship. Well, this team has 18, somewhere in the realm of 18 returning players. So I'm taking Virginia Tech to make it to the championship game, and I think that they actually beat Clemson in an absolute dogfight. I think that if there's an underdog that can do it, they have seemed like they're not very serious until now, and I think that they could do it. I mean, they're like the 5th best odds, but bringing back talent is such a big deal, and that's one of the most returning teams in the country. So I think Virginia Tech's a good sleeper pick. That's what I'm going to go with. I think Clemson's just too good. They're gonna get there.
Okay.
Now I sat here, not in this, well, in this chair, different location, and I tried to do what Zach said. I talked up Clemson. I did all this stuff, and I got Florida Stated is what happened this year when they lost to Duke week 1. I do like NC State a lot. I think Florida State can bounce back from this game. I think it would be a good time to buy them low. I wouldn't have picked them if they won, if that makes any sense, as weird as it sounds. I think Clemson will be in the game, and I think the winner. Listen, I got to do it, okay? They actually have a good enough roster. If you look at the way they're building it, it's good.
Yeah.
It's the super poor man's Ohio State, okay? Their coach sucks, but everything else is really good. They brought in Damian Martinez. They brought in Cam Ward. Cam Ward tried to go to both of me and Cozzi's schools. Both of us said no. But
That's
yeah,
I'm glad you said that we both said no, because
Correct.
I have been accused lying about that.
Michigan, he more told us no, kind of, because we were like, basically what happened was the night before JJ announced the night before JJ announced he wanted to come to Michigan. We're like, well, we don't know. We might have JJ. I don't know. You're
and
not.
By the way,
go.
Blake,
Yeah.
make your pick.
I did.
So you did pick the U.
Screw you.
But yeah, so we had the whole thing, right? And he's good. He's not good enough to win anything bigger than the ACC. But I mean, the ACC champion was undefeated last year and lost by 1,000 to Georgia. Obviously, context matters in that, but still, I believe in the U. I'm in a fan. Everyone knows if you are on any college football, Twitter, anything, the Kansas Army rolls deep and is crazy. So I'm probably getting a little bit of brainwashed on that, but yeah, it is what it is. Go Canes.
Let's go to the next conference, the U, the Big 12. I think this is one of the most open conferences in a while. I can't
wait for basketball in this conference.
It's gonna be so fun. I think there's just so many options here on who can win. And it's hard to say exactly who is going to win. Cozzi, go ahead. Your turn.
So my championship game is going to be a rematch of a non-conference game, but it's from the same conference where Arizona plays Kansas State.
That's right. They do play this year.
Yes, and they play in a non-conference.
Friday night, right?
It's I want to say it's on a Friday. It's on a Friday night. Yeah, it's a 8 p.m. game at Kansas State. So it's Arizona at Kansas State.
Gus Johnson special. Nice.
I think
Maserati McClellan.
I think, and this is just my opinion.
His last name is McMillan, by the way.
Whatever.
I think that there will be a rematch of a certain extent that you're going to see that for the championship, but I think Arizona loses in the non-conference, and then I think they beat them for the conference title, but Kansas State still sneaks in, and the Big 12 gets 2 in the tournament.
Okay.
We always talk about, I just said it, returning players, and the team that has the most.
I wondered if you were going to hold you.
That has the most returning players is Oklahoma State. They have 20 of their 22 starters. That's unbelievable. I'm taking the states battle, Kansas State versus Oklahoma State, and I actually think Kansas State wins it, but I think it's going to be a really good game. I think that Utah is, as far as Cam Rising is going to go, take them, and is he healthy? Will he just give up if he gets hurt again? You know what I mean? Is he just going to be like, I can't do this anymore? I've been playing for 7 years. So I think Utah is really good. They're a well-coached team always. They could be they're the favorite, but also at the same time, it's like they're not as talked about as other conference champion favorites.
They're the favorite at 4-1?
I think it's 3 or 4-1.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm saying I'm going to say the Battle of the States. I think that's what I'm going to go with.
Yeah, I'm very, very, very excited for this conference in both of the major sports. And yeah, Oklahoma State I think will be a good team for sure. I mean, they made the Big 12 championship game last year with Texas and Oklahoma, so that's obviously nothing to really scoff at. I have to say my joke. I say it all the time. Kansas State, obviously the upgraded quarterback. I have to get that in there. I think that they're going to be definitely someone to be in there. I don't like that we're all on the same one. I always am worried when things like that happen. And the thing with the Big 12 is a team comes out of nowhere and usually surprises people in this Big 12, right? Every year, like I remember the Baylor a few years ago, obviously, a few of these other teams. God, that play, that's one of the most forgotten best plays of all time. That, when Baylor stopped Oklahoma State make the playoff, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And let me guess, you think it's going to be UCF to come out of nowhere?
You're absolutely correct.
I think it's the pick. I really do.
KJ Jefferson, the most Walmart version of what's it called? Cam Newton you could ever find.
Yep.
Gus Malzane's pretty much only success, realistically speaking, like at a big level, was with him. I know KJ Jefferson. I could make a DUI bowl and have him versus Ollie Gordon and really get spicy. But I think UCF is definitely worth a shout. They got those really cool uniforms, like light blue uniforms.
Yeah.
Wait, what color are the uniforms?
I think the light blue ones.
Oh no, haven't you seen the new one?
They have
the new one's all black.
It
has the script and it has
the all black with the white script.
Yeah. Okay, those ones, the space ones. Yeah. And the light blue ones aren't, because the script ones aren't in the game. And then they have something where it lines up. UCF, it lines up with one of the launch sites of something.
Yes, it's NASA's launch site.
And I know Elon said he was going to try to launch a rocket during one of their games. Like, they got some cool stuff going on down there. And the fact that they've gone from Group of 5 to Power 5 is really cool. I loved Plumlee last year. John Reese Plumlee was always fun.
Yeah, he was.
I saw him returning a kick the other day for the Steelers in preseason. That's what is going on nowadays. But it's just such a shit show with this conference. I mean, I think Kansas deserves a look. How much are they going to lose? Losing Bean and their coordinator, that's something to look at for sure. But I think UCF will definitely be in that game. And again, as Zack said, will you see Utah will it be Cam Rising as he was again, or I think it's going to be more like the Klay Thompson, where it's like he got hurt twice and kind of mentally checked out a little bit. Obviously, you're not getting paid as much as you are if you were on the Warriors. But I think that you might kind of skip over them there. So I would say UCF, and maybe even watch out for a crazy Iowa State. They got a lot of returning production as well. But I would say prediction-wise, I'm going to go Kansas State loses to UCF. Crazy deep shot. Might as well.
All right, let's just stick in order, and let's pick the Big Ten. Let's just do it now. Cozzi, go ahead, pick the Big Ten.
Ohio State versus Michigan for your title. And I'm sticking to it. I actually think that there will be a 11-0 versus 11-0 in the horseshoe. There will be a rematch. And, out of I have Ohio State winning both of them. I really do. I think Ryan Day gets it done. I think that this conference proves once again that it is a two-team conference. I think everyone keeps doubting Michigan, thinking that Michigan's going to kind of be, like Blake said, like Iowa. Maybe not an offense, but they'll find something. They will find a run game. They will find a this and that to go along with it eventually. They will develop their line. They'll be fine. I just don't trust Penn State. I don't trust newcomers. I think it's going to just come down to that. The only way that something could go awry is if you have Iowa go 8-1 in conference play and they somehow get the tiebreaker over Michigan. It's the only way I see that happening. Now, I am going to say, I think with that happening, I think Ohio State gets the 1 seed. I think Michigan does make the playoffs, and I think we get one other team in.
That's fair. That makes sense.
I'll reveal my 12-team playoff, but that's how I think it's going to go.
Yeah. I thought about this for a long time. I'm just like, how hype? Because you guys really touched on Oregon earlier, and I didn't really touch on it. How much hype is this team getting, and how much are they going to produce after what I've seen in the last couple of years where they've lost to a team multiple times, and can they stay consistent against teams that have better trenches? And in my eyes, I don't think so. I think they're going to finish third. I don't know how it's going to play out, but I actually have, and I didn't think I would ever say this, but I'm going to have Ohio State versus Penn State in the Big Ten championship game. I think Penn State, they lose potentially to Ohio State. They might even upset Ohio State in the regular season. But I think that somehow James Franklin will have that, that Jim Harbaugh-esque finish where he's had all these mediocre to high-end years, but I think this is the year he finally gets it done. I think that if their wide receiver plays up to par or a little above par, this team has so many weapons and they have so many good defensive players that they're going to just beat people in the trenches. And I think, I think Penn State plays Ohio State, and I still think Ohio State wins. I think they're just too good. They have so many weapons, and I don't know. You guys aren't going to say it, but I think this is Ohio State's natty or bust team. I think they have just that level of talent. I think it's going to be them or Georgia at this point. I think that one of those teams has to play to the level of what everybody's expectations are. I saw some stat that the number one team in the AP pool hasn't won the playoff at all if they start preseason one or something like that. But it would be crazy, I think. But I think that this Ohio State team is for real. And I think Ryan Day, he might have had to pay a lot of money for a roster, but at the same time, it's a roster that's probably going to pay off at the end. So I think Ohio State's going to win it. We'll see what happens in the national championship game, though, or going past this level. So
Cozzi and I agree on almost everything. I think Michigan figures it out. And I think it is really funny when you look at Michigan and the critique of my glorious king, J.J. McCarthy. He's a handoff merchant. He doesn't do anything. But now that he's gone, it's like, oh, my God, what's happening? So that's cute in a sense. I think Michigan might look bad early. We might lose to Texas initially. I don't think we will, but I could obviously see it. And I think when you just look down the roster and everything, it's such a deep team defensively. Michigan's been rotating guys for a long time. I think that defense translates. I mean, Michigan, you saw last year. I mean, the best defense we played last year, without a doubt, was Ohio State and Penn State. But Ohio State had an offense to go with the defense. Will Michigan have an offense to go with the defense? I think, as crazy as it sounds, Michigan is going to win in the shoe. And they're going to take Ryan Day out back and put a gun to his head and go, listen, dude, you have a week to get it back. And they'll beat us in the Big Ten championship game. I think Michigan is going to be an instant classic sneak out. And I have a feeling, I don't know why, gut feeling is Ohio State wins by a couple of scores in the Big Ten title game. I don't know why. I think Michigan sneaks out some 24-23, 24-21, close game while I'm in attendance, because my record in attendance recently is ridiculous. And then we will get our asses handed to us in the Big Ten championship game by Ohio State. I don't know why I feel it that way. I just do. That's just a gut feeling. Yeah. But I think we will win the shoe. Michigan will get way too cocky and confident, and it'll get shoved right back in our face a week later. Because I think if we would have replayed Ohio State a few of these years, it would have been much better games than the first time. I mean, because you can see how much closer the game was getting. I mean, Ohio State didn't play well. Ryan Day coached like a fucking idiot, and it was a 6-point game.
I
wrote that down just so we have that for record. So
it's recorded. It's even better than your handwriting.
There's history. I mean, it's interesting because there's 18. There's so many teams that everybody's going to be like, well, I have this team, and it's just you got to switch it up a little bit because everybody says Oregon, Ohio State. It's like, come on, are we ever going to change it up from Oregon, Ohio State?
Almost never who you think it is.
Yeah,
especially in college.
Yeah. Next Conference USA. There's a heavy favorite in this conference.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Cozzi, go ahead. I don't know.
I mean, Conference USA, it's got to be Liberty, right? There's got to be.
I mean, it's just who are they going to play? I think they're going to play Jacksonville State. I don't even know.
Shout out Rich Rod.
Yeah.
I mean, do I want to take someone else? Yeah, I kind of do, but I don't think I have the heart to do that.
Liberty versus the field. We'll give you guys the field.
I'm pretty sure they're like minus 300 underdog.
I'll still take Liberty.
Minus 300 favorites.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Jacksonville State has an awesome field.
Yes.
But outside of that, I'm not confident. So
yeah, like I don't know. It's just like that conference is so crazy because it's just dumb easy. Like they just run through it, and I don't think it's going to really change. All right, FBS Independence. We don't have to pick anybody. There's no conference.
It's funny, and whenever I do my college dynasties, I add UConn and UMass to the MAC. Obviously, I know UMass is going to the MAC. I mean, the Conference USA is just one of those conferences where I think that they're gonna. It's just it's a feeder conference right now. I mean, obviously, they're just picking up teams from D2 and then they kind of go somewhere else. I think there's been a lot of talks of UConn going to the Big 12. I think it's very interesting.
It wasn't happened for like 10 more years or 8 more. 2031, I think, was the rumored date. Next conference is the greatest conference during the week in history. The Maction, baby. Who do we like in the Maction this year? So many.
I got to go with Miami of Ohio. I mean, you talk about people returning. Miami of Ohio has that. I think it's going to be Miami of Ohio versus Toledo. I think that's going to be your – and here's the thing. One other thing that they did this year is they eliminated their divisions too. Yeah. So that's going to be an interesting thing. I got Miami of Ohio against Toledo as well. I think that is – by the way, this is one of the few conferences that didn't have realignment.
Yeah.
Like, this is one of those conferences that was like –
they haven't had a realignment in a long time.
No,
I know.
They haven't added really anybody.
They've lost UMass, and now they're adding UMass again. But that's it. That's literally like their realignment.
Yeah. If I'm gonna, who are you picking to win? Miami, Ohio, right?
I take Miami, Ohio. Yeah.
So I'm gonna take Miami of Ohio to be in the game too. I'm gonna take a sleeper pick, and I'm gonna take Western Michigan. I think Western Michigan. They've kind of had some rough years. I know that their former head coach is now Iowa's offensive coordinator, so that's pretty interesting to me. The in between PJ Fleck years, but I'm going to take Miami, Ohio, Western Michigan just to switch it up a little bit. But everything I've heard, everything I've read says Miami, Ohio. Their team is just so good. So I think that Maction will happen. There's going to be crazy games, but at the same time, you just got to take one of the big dogs, and I think that they're right now. I think Toledo losing Daquan Finn was a huge.
Yeah. I think I'll probably be in attendance at a Bills game this year, or Bulls game, probably both, honestly. I know because they're right down the street from really next to our office. It's like I think it's a 10-minute drive. It's fun. It's just so funny to drive past it. You can just walk on the field whenever you want. It's pretty funny. That being said, I will be also taking Miami. I know it's boring, but they're really good. And I think the funniest thing was I watched their coach is electric. I don't know how familiar you guys are with their coach. They had an interview. They talked about it, and he's like, yeah, the kicker left. He goes, he didn't leave. He was stolen. Alabama stole him. And he went like this whole thing. I don't know why the media tries to be cute and pretty and sugarcoat this shit. Alabama stole our kicker. And he was like going nuts. I'm like, damn. And other than that, I watched Bowling Green in the bowl game. They look pretty good. So I'll go with them to lose to Miami, Ohio in that game. So,
cool. All right.
I'm a good actor. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, they're like the third favorite. I don't know.
I would have taken Rocky Lombardi, but he's not there. So
yeah. He was like playing in the.
He took 3 snaps, took 3 knees with the Bungles, and then got cut.
Yeah, then got caught with the Bungles. Next conference, the Mountain West.
I'm going to take I think Boise runs away with this conference. I think they're really good this year. I think that they actually play kind of like in my opinion, a more of an upset team in the championship game. I'm actually going to take Colorado State to play them in the Mountain West Championship game. And by the way, that is also the same Colorado State team that will beat Colorado this year.
Yeah, I'm gonna take Boise State to make it to the game, but I think that they're gonna lose to an underdog. I think this Fresno State team might actually be pretty good after they play Michigan. I think that they're gonna go through and they're gonna kind of bounce back, and I think that there's gonna be kind of an upset in the championship game where Fresno State upsets them. I think if I was to pick a team that might come back and like if Boise misses out on it, I think it could be Fresno, UNLV. I think those top three teams are pretty interchangeable, but I would say I'm going to go Boise, Fresno, and I'm going to have Fresno win it. I think that's a nice dog to take.
Yeah, I've been looking a lot, and this Fresno team's pretty good. I know they just lost their coach to like a health thing before the season, but they kind of seem like he's got the boys fired up and almost might help them out a little bit. Obviously not like a good thing, but you know what I mean, like hype the guys up. I mean, Boise State probably could be in the game. I think they had a bad year last year and they played UNLV, but Air Force has been really trending upwards the last few seasons. They've had some really good runs. I know they were like 10-2 at one point, I think. They had a lot of good guys, especially in fantasy. I think that they are going to be facing UNLV. UNLV, they have that crazy offense. I know Michigan played them too. We've been playing a lot of these Mount West guys. They really moved the ball a little bit on Michigan, which is pretty impressive because not many people did. They had that one kid from Michigan State, Ricky White, I believe. He's one of the higher guys everyone takes in fantasy, so they've got a lot of stuff going on there. And I think UNLV will edge out Air Force in the conference championship game. It's funny because I think Air Force like literally was undefeated against group of 5 teams that weren't service academies last year. Something stupid. I think they lost Navy and Army. I don't know. I didn't get the Commander-in-Chief trophy. I know that for sure. So
they did not. There was another school that got that.
Indeed.
All right, Pac-2 predictions.
Let's go with so we're going Pac-2 now. Wow.
Might as well. I don't think
they're playing each other, right? I hope they make a big deal out of it. Like they should. That'd be really funny.
Let me see if they play each other.
I hope they hang a Pac-12 banner. Like if I'm one of these two schools, I'm just a total.
Yeah, they played the second to last week.
Second to last week. I like that. They only should play it week 1. They've been hilarious.
I'm taking. I don't know. Go ahead, Cozzi. I don't know.
You know what? I'm going to take Oregon State. Screw it.
I'm going to take Oregon State too. I don't know. I just feel like this is a weird game and they're home. Just take them.
I'm going to take Wazoo. I mean, I don't know anything about it.
It doesn't really matter. It's not a conference championship game, really.
We will make it a big deal on this podcast when it comes around. That's just how we do it. I just know we will.
All right. Last couple. The big one. Well, the other big one. The SEC conference. No divisions, just SEC football. Let's see. What do we think?
That seems like it should be like a tagline right there. No divisions, just football.
Just football.
Okay, so I am going to have a wild take that after 1 year, DeBoer will be on the hot seat because he's going to lose 4 games.
Okay.
Yes. I think Auburn's going to be a startup team. I think Tennessee is going to kind of struggle some points in the season. I do like Texas. I do like Ole Miss. I like Missouri. And I like Georgia, obviously. I think my conference championship game is going to be Georgia against Ole Miss. Ole Miss finally gets to Atlanta, and they blow it. But they will be my 5 seed in the tournament. When we get to it, I do have one shock in the tournament, so we'll wait for that.
I mean, Cozzi just kind of spoke my mind, but I'm gonna say Ole Miss versus Georgia, and I think Ole Miss. You know, it's all this talk about Alabama with a new staff. Texas, are they really here? Are they in the SEC? I think Ole Miss is still kind of an underdog. My boy Jackson Dart, he's a pretty good quarterback. You know what I mean? you could say pretty good. I think it's Ole Miss Georgia, and I think we have a repeat of last year where Georgia chokes in the SEC championship game. They still make it in the playoff, and they still have a great run in the playoff. I don't know where I'm gonna have them finish yet, but I'm gonna say Ole Miss over Georgia as the SEC championship game. I think Ole Miss gets it done. Lane Kiffin's a G anyway, so.
So it's Georgia, and they're gonna win. And it's obviously who they're going to play against. All right, Georgia, best team in football. Georgia loses literally. I'm trying to think the last time they've lost to anyone that's not Nick Saban, right? It's been a long time. It might have been even South Carolina like 3 years ago. Nick Saban clearly is gone. That's all. That's the only reason they lose is Nick Saban. I'm very high on Bama still. I've been talking about how I think Milroe is probably my pick for the Heisman. I mean, if you can turn Penix into a Heisman candidate, Milroe's significantly better, and you have a lot more talent around you than you did at Washington. So I think they could definitely get a shot here. LSU, I couldn't be lower on. I don't understand the hype. I don't get any of it. Keep this hype next year when it's going to be my boy Bryce Underwood in town. That being said, Mizzou's getting a lot of hype. I don't like it. Ole Miss, I love Lane, but he can't win a big game. Only can beat James Franklin. That doesn't count, okay? Maybe he's on the beginning of his Harbaugh thing where it's like, hey, you got to beat James Franklin sometimes, get some big games off your chest. Tennessee, they're going to win. They'll be in the SEC championship game next year. A&M, sneaky really good. I really do think A&M is going to be good. People will find out when they beat Notre Dame how good they're going to be. Texas is going to lose to Michigan, and I'm hearing some things about Texas. There's a lot of things about Texas right now. I think that they have their coach has got a lot going on, and there's a lot of stuff going on in that locker room that I've been hearing about Texas. And I think Oklahoma is not good. So that leaves Bama, Georgia. I think Bama gives Georgia a run for their money, but I think Georgia's a runaway train this year, and it's can anyone catch them? I think Chip Kelly potentially could, but we will see. But I think Georgia runs away with the SEC.
All right, last conference, Sun Belt.
Fun Belt.
Yeah, the Fun Belt.
This is the only conference that has divisions still. So I think it's App State versus Texas State, and I think App State gets it done. I still think I don't think we're getting the team out of this conference to represent the one group of 5 playoff team, but I think it's going to be fun. It always is. It's the Fun Belt. It's like the stepchild of the MAC.
Yeah, I'm going to take App State versus Louisiana. I think just to pick somebody else, the Raging Cajun. They're supposed to play here. They changed scheduling. They're playing somewhere else now. I think they're playing Tulane, which is way closer to them, so it makes sense. I'm just going to pick them, and I'm going to pick App State to win it. App State's always a fun team. Luke Combs goes nuts on College game day, so it's awesome. It's like the best part. And then they show out. So, App State's going to win that conference.
You can't really pick anyone that's not App State in the East. I mean, it would have been James Madison, obviously, but they couldn't even have played last year because of it. But they kind of gutted their roster. Texas State I do like as a shout. Obviously, they got McLeod from JMU over there. But there's this team over there. They've been doing really good. I've been liking what they've been doing. And that is the Jaguars of South Alabama, abbreviation USA.
USA.
They played UCLA super tight a few years ago. They've been doing a lot of damage. They're one of Rico Bosco's favorite teams. He's been pretty high on them for a while. Money in the crumbs. I think that they'll give App State a run for their money, but App State wins the conference. I know it's boring and it's chalk, but there's a reason why it's boring and it's chalk because they're a very good football team. I've even seen a few A's in some brackets as that 12 seed. I don't think it will be, but I do believe. Actually, I'm 99% sure. I'm just going to double check right now because I did have it in a previous video on this channel as one of the top 10 games of the year. And one of my friends watched the video and thought I was on drugs.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Does play Liberty this year. and that's going to be a hell of a football game.
Oh, that'll be great. That might be for the 12th seed.
That's exactly what I was saying to him. I was like, look, man, it's the last week of October or last week of September, and it's at App State. So I think Liberty will be favored in that game, and it might be
a game day there that week.
That might be the one game Liberty loses, and if they had any motion, they'd play it there. I mean, the only game I can think of week 4, I know Michigan plays USC then, and that's a 3:30 game. But
yeah, they shouldn't put Michigan twice.
Yeah, because you shouldn't have many good games at this point in the season yet. But that's, again, sneaky. That's the type of game where it's like this, we're going to see who's making it. We're going to see what's going to end up happening here. So
yeah. All right. I guess we say national championship winners. I think we should kind of go through that. I don't have a whole bracket made. I didn't make mine.
Cozzi does, so let Cozzi do his.
Cozzi, go ahead and then pick your winner. But we should all know who's going to pick. So.
Okay. So I have top seed Ohio State, 2 seed Georgia, 3 seed Arizona, 4 seed NC State, 5 seed Ole Miss, 6 seed Michigan, 7 seed Missouri, 8 seed Oregon, 9 seed Texas, 10 seed Penn State, 11 seed Kansas State, and rounding out your 12th seed is Boise State.
Nice.
I think that App State Liberty game changes everything. I think App State beats Liberty. I think Boise State plays a close enough game against Oregon to convince the committee to rate them the highest group of 5 team.
That's fair. And then who do you got as your natty champs?
National championship game, I got a Peach Bowl from 2 years ago, a rematch, the big one, Ohio State, Georgia, and I'm saying we walk out of there with the title.
So it's natty or bust. Cozzi said it himself.
Natty or bust.
Yeah, it's a very fair. It's a very, 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 very fair assessment. I think that's a. Like I said earlier, though, I think Georgia, collapses in the SEC championship game. They have an absolute stinker. Carson Beck gets flashbacks of last year's game where they just absolutely didn't show up. I think that they get that 5 seed, and they just run the table. I think they just go on an absolute tear. I think if they get that 5 seed and they're not a conference champion, they could absolutely tear through that half of the bracket. And I think if they're on that side, they would be playing potentially – I'd have to look at a bracket, but I think that they would play hopefully Ohio State in the national championship game, but if not, another high seed. So potentially like I don't know off the top of my head. But I think Georgia does it again. I think everybody thinks, wow, this Georgia team fell off. They did the same thing as last year. They're toast. But then they come out of nowhere and just absolutely run the table again.
Yeah. I mean, you kind of already know my Final Four based on my previous predictions of who's doing what. I think, I completely agree with Zach. It's Georgia's national championship to lose, really. I mean, they've been proving it. Again, if they can't beat one coach. I mean, I guess you could say the same thing about Ohio State. I think it would be pretty poetic if they face each other in championship games. Like the two guys, Kirby couldn't beat Saban, and Ryan Day, could beat Harbaugh once, but you know what I mean, right? That'd be pretty funny. I just feel like that's way too chalk. I do think it'll be Georgia. I do think Ohio State wins some games in the playoff. I know Georgia's going to win. I just don't know who they're going to beat. I think that Miami could legit make a run. I know they have a terrible coach. That's the problem. Is there's such a lack of coaching talent.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
You made me laugh at Miami.
There's like a 4 or 5 that are above everybody else.
Because you think of the other coaches, that's like, who are these coaches that you really trust? I mean, Dabo, you would have said yes a few years ago. Like Brian Kelly, no. That's the problem. There's just such a gap there, which makes me worried for a guy like Day or one of the other guys that don't have the guts or the gusto previously to potentially make a run there. But I would not be surprised if you get 2 ACC teams in and Clemson's experience gets through. I think there might be an ACC team in the Final Four, which I know it's kind of a hot take, but I guess they got to win one game to do that. But I don't know. I could see Clemson in there. I know I didn't pick them to win the championship, but the more you think about it, it's like, it's gonna be such an imperative to have so much depth, and that's why I think Michigan will eventually have depth, just because they have so many guys, so many positions. Because you think about it, if you're going to win the national championship, you got to win 16 games. If you don't win your conference, it's 17, right? I mean, that's a lot of football games. I mean, like 13 or Michigan went 15-0 when we were having guys banged up, getting carried across the line. We had pretty good injury luck as well. So it's just depth is a thing, and I think that teams are going to start to sort themselves out. It's crazy how you think of like what's called Oregon and Ohio State would be it's like week 7 or week 6, and that's still the first half. Like week 8 or 9 is the first half of the year. It's crazy. We'll be in November, and it's like, hey, we're halfway there. Great for the viewer, but just it's going to be such a unique championship this year. I think it's going to be interesting to see what prevails, because we kind of saw how it was defense, moving the ball, trenches, and a good enough quarterback the last few seasons in the NIL era with Michigan and Georgia. Can Georgia still do that? I believe so. I mean, bringing in ETN's big. Carson Beck's really good at football. I know he doesn't seem like it, but he is. And I mean, even could say, kind of agreeing with Zack, you could really see with this lack of, elite coaching, could you find yourself seeing like a Lane Kiffin making it in there potentially? Yeah. So we'll see.
I think we should just go over like one sleeper pick to make a run in the national towards the national championship. You already said Miami. Cozzi, who do you think? I mean, who would be like a sleeper team that you are looking at?
For me, it's Miami/Clemson.
Yeah. Look, I'm not gonna lie. I kind of like Arizona to make that sleeper run. I'm really high on Arizona. I think Arizona is pretty good, and I think a lot of people are overlooking them.
I got you. I'm going to make a very unpopular opinion, of course. It'll probably bite me in the ass by the end of this week. So, but this might be the year where if there's a team that should be pretty good, I mean, Notre Dame should most definitely make a run in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. I think it sucks to say, but I mean, Benjamin Morris is up there. I mean, he's literally up there with Will Johnson. Like he's close to being. He's like he goes like 1A, and then there's like a small gap, and then there's him because he's hey, I mean, they're by far the best two cornerbacks in college football, and it's no question. If Riley Leonard has a decent season, they should be way better than they were. I mean, they were good last year, but they should be, in a pretty good spot to where they could make, the Final Four type thing. I don't think they're going to come close to winning it, but I mean, they're basically getting a free path to the playoffs. You might as well capitalize on it while you're there, especially if they get like a 5 or a 7 seed or whatever in that half of the bracket where you guys said if there's a little bit weaker of a side of a bracket, they're going to want to be there because the max they can get is 5 anyway. So
for sure,
yeah, it's interesting. I think that there's just one team that eventually they got to put it together, but who knows?
It's a really cool season. I'm glad Michigan got the last title before everything went nuts. But so now I can sit back and be like, whatever happens, happens. I know everyone's going to be like, we want to defend our title. We're Michigan. Get a grip, dude. All right. I think there's still a chance you could do it. But, like, I'm just going to be so happy as a neutral college football fan just to kind of sit back and be like, sports.
Yeah, now you get to just watch games. You get to just,
dude, that graphic of, like, the amount of football we have in, like, the month of December. It's like a game every day almost. Yeah. It's unbelievable. And it's not bad games, great games. Well, every game's a great game. We know that, but you know what I mean. Elite games.
Every game is a chance to watch good football at some point or another. It's just hard because some teams there's at least one player you're probably going to see on Sundays in most teams.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
even on, like, these really bad teams that are getting blown out. I mean, you'll find somebody that's pretty good. So, but yeah, I don't know if there's anything else we need to cover. Do you have anything else?
I don't think so.
You posted something about a ranking. Are we doing a ranking?
Yes. Do we want to do the end of show ranking?
Yeah, let's do a ranking.
Okay.
just for fun.
So I guess this week's ranking. Let's rank top five live mascots out there right now.
All right, you start.
Does it have to be existing, or can it be a hypothetical? And what do we mean by ranking? Like, who would win in a fight? Or
Think
what?
about actual.
Just your favorite.
Like, could I take a hypothetical Wolverine, or do you want me to take a Bevo type thing?
No, you have to take a Bevo type thing.
Because a Wolverine would beat the shit out of Bevo.
Oh my God, your Wolverine would not stand a chance.
All right.
Oh, Wolverine's basically a honey badger. Those things are kick ass.
Oh my God.
Cozzi, start us off.
Okay, so I mean, going from 5 on down, we're gonna combine them. Number 5 is Boomer and Sooner. I fucking love the horses. I mean, how can you not fucking love the horses?
Right?
Number 4, I got Bevo. I'm a big fan of Bevo. That's my number 4. Number 3, I fucking love the Gamecock. Sir Big Spur. Yes, Sir Big Spur. That's got to be number 3. Number 2, I'm going with the classic. It's got to be Uga. And my number 1, how can you not fucking love him? Dubs, baby. Dubs.
Yeah.
Like, he just fucking kicks ass.
All right. 5. I'm gonna do the War Eagle. I think that's a good pick. I think that's a good. I mean, it's very traditional. 4. I'm gonna go Ralphie the Buffalo. He goes nuts. He goes nuts in the field. 3. I'm gonna go Mike the Tiger. Mike the Tiger is iconic. I remember playing college football as a kid, and he used to be in the cage on the field or whatever. 2. I'm gonna take Dubs at 2, and I'm gonna take the icon Smokey at number 1. I think those are interchangeable in 2, but I think Smokey's a legendary dog, and he runs up and down during the touchdowns, and it's so iconic. Especially now that they're back, pretty good.
I think it's like the Appalachian Coonhound. I think is the breed of dog Smokey is. I think I'll put Smokey at 5. Got to be up there out of respect. Who else could I put up there? 4. I mean, number 1 would have been. I know Ed Orgeron said this on the Part of My Take podcast that he tried to get a live tiger on the sideline. I'd been.
Well, they have a tiger. He's in a tank outside the stadium.
Yeah. Sir Big Spur for sure is up there. I'll probably put him at 2. I know I'm kind of going out of order here. Sorry. We don't do mascots in Michigan, unfortunately. At 4, I mean, Ralphie is pretty sick. I mean, a bison, or I guess buffalo technically. I don't really know the difference, but they're pretty much the same thing. I mean, if you're going live mascot, you could pick humans on there that are doing stuff. But are
you going to put the leprechaun on there?
No, I was going to put the Syracuse orange. I think it's just hilarious.
Oh my gosh.
But I can't. So
you just have 3 left.
I'm trying to think. What's a live mascot? Yeah, I know. I have 3 left. Does the Big Ten even have any? Really?
If we have live mascots, not really. No.
I mean, Dubs.
Yeah.
Dubs now, yeah.
We know the Dubs guy. I'll put him out of respect. Dubs at 3.
And if I had to put one honorable mention, and this is I can't believe I forgot about this, and the Renegade, the Florida State guy on the horse is sick. I think I wouldn't consider it alive because it's a person.
But the person that's the mascot.
Yeah.
It's a Seminole tribe. I mean, I think it counts.
I think that would count, but I would put that at right outside of it because that's sick.
I was kind of talking more like live animal mascots, but we can add Renegade. That's fine.
Yeah, that would.
Ask Christopher Columbus. I mean, what are we doing here?
Yeah,
And I don't even know who I could fill out the last one with.
you did everyone. You did all your spots.
I hate Bevo. I didn't even do a number one.
You hate Bevo? How can you hate Bevo?
Because I'm beating the shit out of Bevo in week 2. But yeah, Sir Big Spur's a beast. Come on, a Gamecock.
I am going to see Sir Big Spur on September 14th. I'm pretty excited.
What are they playing?
LSU.
Oh my god.
Go Tigers.
That'd be nuts. That'd be a game.
But yeah, I think that's what we got to wrap it up here. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the 2 episodes in one here. In one weekend. So yeah, happy football is back. Everyone got a lock of the week they could throw out maybe? I know we'll start picking more games traditionally next week.
I'm taking Notre Dame.
Nebraska minus 27.5. We're going betting odds.
Who are they playing?
UTEP.
Oh, I'm taking Notre Dame. Notre Dame upset.
And I'm taking Texas A&M.
I'm gonna have to go Miami out of respect. You do a little money line parlay of Miami and Penn State. That's a money line parlay respect. And player prop Aiden Childs anytime touchdown plus 125.
Yeah, that's a good one. If I had to take,
whatever Orgy's touchdown is.
Yeah, I'm gonna say there's probably not lines out, and I bet you he's probably gonna be a very, 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 very heavy favorite to have a touchdown.
Yeah, I wonder what it is. I really do.
Let's see. They might have it out now.
It's funny because when you looked at Corum's lines, he started the year at about minus 500, 600. By the end of the year, he was minus 1,100, minus 1,500 to score. Because he scored every game.
Here we go. Minus Alex Orgy, plus 110. Less money for Alex Orgy to score a touchdown. They're giving
Gentlemen, don't overthink it. This is not financial advice, but it is.
Donovan Edwards is only minus 400.
You can double your money for free right there.
Yeah. Khalil Mullings has better odds than Alex Orgy to score a touchdown.
Interesting.
Colston Loveland plus 185. That's not a bad shot either.
I don't know if I'd pick any pass catchers. That's just
yeah, true. Because I don't know how many passes they're going to throw.
Correct.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll get into more traditional shows next week, picking games, things like that, doing our rundown. We'll get a little bit to get into the groove here for sure. We'll figure out some of our teams and stuff. I know it took us a few weeks to figure out God's team, America's team, Michigan. Arizona. But yeah, so we will move on from there. Thank you again always for watching. Please like, subscribe, and we'll see you guys next week. Peace.